The sun creeps over the Heartland Ranch, gold on the grass, quiet as a held breath. A horse snorts in the cool air. Amy steps into the light. And the calm begins, soft wind and distant birds. Hoofbeats fade in. The screen is almost still, a pale sky. The wide field, the old fence that has seen every joy and every bruise. We hold on to that clings to the tall grass, beads of silver on green. A lone mare lifts her head. Her dark eye catches the morning, and a small tremble runs through her flank, as if she feels something before we do. The ranch wakes. A gate clicks. A barn door slides open with a low scrape. We do not see faces. We see hands, strong and gentle, pulling the latch, brushing the dust from a saddle, tracing the worn grain of wood that has held this family together for years. The camera glides to the porch. Boots rest by the step, the kind that have crossed fields and storms and found their way home again. The screen warms with the first touch of sun, and the mist pulls back like a slow sigh. In the soft glow, Amy walks into frame, a quiet figure in a sweater and boots. Her hair loose, her steps careful, the way you move when you are not sure if the ground will hold. She listens. Not to words, but to the space between them, the space that once was full. A gentle guitar note rings. The wind shifts a strand of hair across her cheek. She looks toward the pasture, and we cut to the horses moving like shadows through light, tails lifting, breath smoking in the chill. A foal bumps its mother, and the world feels simple for a heartbeat. The narrator's voice is low, steady, and kind. A new dawn rises over Heartland. But peace is a fragile thing. Amy reaches for a halter hanging on a nail. Her hand hesitates just long enough to tell the truth. She is brave, but she is not made of stone. The sound of the ranch grows soft knickers, the clink of metal, the hush of hay sliding from a bayland. It builds like a promise and a warning. We track along the fence line as sunlight pours across the field, turning frost to glitter and shadows to stories. A storm cloud sits far off on the horizon, small as a thought you try to ignore. The guitar deepens. Amy steps toward the mare, and the animal turns, trusting. She raises a hand, palm open, no rush, no fear. Close on her fingers as they meet warm hide. Close on her eyes as they soften, brave and unsure at the same time. The narrator returns, softer now. She has healed before. She can heal again. But every heart that opens can be hurt. A single thunder rolls so quiet we might be dreaming, presses under the music. Amy glances up, not at the sky, but toward the road we cannot see. Hoofbeats, just one pair, far away. The camera holds on her face for the first time in this trailer, only a glimpse. Only a breath, and then slips away before we linger. The guitar cuts to silence. Title card flares in white over the field. Heartland, Season 19. Another beat. The wind rises. The dew is gone. S to crack. The air feels different now. The calm that once wrapped Heartland like a blanket has thinned. The camera drifts through the familiar ranch, but every frame holds a memory. A worn bridle hangs by the stable door, sunlight glinting off its metal clasp. A child's laughter echoes faintly, then fades, replaced by the quiet rustle of hay. This is a place built from love, loss, and second chances. A home that never stops testing the hearts who live here. Amy's boots step into view again. She pauses by the fence, eyes distant. The wind tugs at her hair, and the world seems to breathe around her. In that silence, the past plays like an old film, her pain, her strength, the moments when everything nearly fell apart. Quick flashes cut through the quiet, Amy comforting a frightened horse, Lindy running through the field with her tiny arms open wide, Jack watching them both with pride heavy in his chest. The ranch has seen storms before, but this one feels personal. The narrator's voice returns, smooth and heavy with meaning. After heartbreak and healing, Amy Fleming has found her rhythm again. She's learned that love can fade, but never truly die. And when you've lost everything, peace becomes the hardest thing to trust. The music deepens. Gentle piano notes, each one landing like a heartbeat. Amy leans against the wooden rail, looking out at the hills beyond. Somewhere out there, the horizon hides a story waiting to unfold. She closes her eyes and lets the wind speak for a moment. It carries whispers of laughter, a name not spoken in years, and the faint sound of a horse neighing in the distance. One that doesn't belong to the ranch. Visuals shift to the family. Lou is in the kitchen, flipping through old photos. She stops on one, Amy smiling beside Ty. Her expression softens, but her worry lingers. She glances through the window, watching her sister stand alone. Tim rides past on horseback, tipping his hat, unaware of the storm creeping toward the mall. The narrator continues, voice low and steady. She's built a life from broken pieces, found strength in the wild and hope in every gallop. But sometimes the hardest lessons aren't about loss. They're about learning to love again. A gust of wind scatters leaves across the porch. The camera pans upward to the open sky, wide, bright, endless, but far off. A faint shadow rolls in. Clouds begin to gather, heavy and slow, as if they're holding back tears. Cut back to Amy. She senses it, not the storm, but something deeper. Something that will change the rhythm of Heartland once more. Her hand tightens on the fence. The guitar strum fades into a single trembling note as she whispers, barely audible, not again. Please. The screen fades to black for half a second. Then the light of a new morning cuts through a horse's cry, the sound of hooves approaching, and the wind carrying the promise of a new chapter. The storm hasn't come yet, but the air already feels charged, like the earth itself is holding its breath. A new sound cuts through the calm morning at Heartland, hooves, steady and deliberate, approaching from the far road. Dust rises in soft spirals behind the figure of a rider, his silhouette faint against the light. He rides like someone who knows the weight of silence. A man who carries stories in his shadow. Camera shifts. Amy is by the barn, brushing the mare's coat, lost in thought. She hears the faint rhythm of hooves and pauses, her hands still on the horse's neck. The mare lifts her head too, ears pricked. A breeze sweeps through the valley, curling around Amy's hair, as if nature itself is trying to warn her or welcome him. The rider slows near the gate. We don't see his face, just the curve of his jaw under the brim of his hat, the way he moves with quiet confidence. His clothes are dusted with travel, boots scuffed, eyes hidden. He swings off the horse and stands still for a moment, taking in the land like he's measuring its heartbeat. The camera lingers on Amy, watching him from a distance. Curiosity flickers across her eyes, then fades into guarded calm. The narrator's voice returns, deep and warm, yet edged with mystery. When a stranger rides into Heartland, he brings more than just a new face. He brings change. Amy wipes her hands on her jeans and walks toward him, cautious but polite. "Can I help you?" she asks, her voice even, but the kind of evenness that hides a question she doesn't want to ask. He turns his head slightly, still half in shadow. "Maybe," he replies with a small smile. "If you're Amy Fleming." Quiet moment stretches between them. Birds call in the distance. The mare snorts softly, breaking the silence. Amy studies him for a beat, too long, trying to decide if he's trouble or something else entirely. The music softens, a few slow notes on acoustic guitar, warm but uncertain. Cut to a close-up. His gloved hand reaches out to stroke the horse beside him. The animal doesn't flinch, leans in. Trust comes easily to horses. People are another story. "She's beautiful," he says. "She's stubborn," Amy replies. "But she listens when you earn it."
Ow.
Their eyes meet for a fleeting second, and in that moment, something shifts. Not love yet, but recognition. The kind that feels like memory. Even when you've never met before. The narrator's voice slides back in. It's almost like a whisper carried on the wind. He's a man running from his past. She's a woman still haunted by hers. And when their worlds collide, the heart of Heartland will never beat the same. A soft flash of lightning dances behind the clouds in the far sky. The camera catches the faint reflection in Amy's eyes. The storm is still far away, but it's coming. And this time, it's not just weather. It's everything she's tried to keep buried. The screen fades to a slow montage of me, leading a horse beside the stranger. The two exchanging brief glances, a laugh she didn't mean to let slip, and the faintest smile on his face as he watches her walk away. The narrator closes the section with a quiet promise. Sometimes a stranger doesn't bring danger. Sometimes he brings the one thing we thought we'd never feel again: hope. The light over Heartland shifts. What was warm and golden turns dim and restless. The camera glides over the ranch as clouds crawl across the sky, slow and heavy. The calm that once filled the air begins to break apart, like a photograph burning from the edges. The narrator's voice hums in low, careful tones. Every calm sky hides a storm, and sometimes it doesn't come from the clouds, but from the heart. Amy's footsteps echo on the barn floor. She moves quickly now, her usual calm replaced by something uneasy. A few days have passed since the stranger arrived, and already his presence ripples through the quiet order she's built. Horses sense at first nervous, pacing, tossing their heads as if feeling what she refuses to admit. Cut to the house. Lou is at the window, arms folded tight, eyes sharp with concern. She watches Amy and the stranger from behind the glass, the reflection of the sky flickering across her face. "You barely know him," Lou says later, her voice cutting through the kitchen stillness. "And you're already letting him in?" Amy doesn't look up from her coffee mug. Her fingers tighten around it. "He's just helping with the horses, Lou, that's all." "You said the same thing once before," Lou replies quietly. Silence. A long one. The kind that speaks louder than anger ever could. The camera pans to Jack on the porch. He sits in his old chair, chewing on a thought. The wind stirs his hat brim as he looks out toward the pasture. His face says what his mouth doesn't. He's seen this before. Love creeping in when the wounds are still open. He mutters under his breath, half to himself, "Storm's coming, Amy girl. I can feel it." Back in the fields, the stranger, his name still unspoken, works quietly. He's patient, good with the horses, kind in ways that don't need words. But his eyes give him away. They carry the look of someone who's run too long from something that's catching up. The camera catches a glimpse of an old photo tucked inside his saddlebag, a woman and a child. He shoves it back, too fast. The music darkens, strings rising beneath the sound of thunder far off. Amy calls out, her voice sharp over the wind, warning him about the storm rolling in. He looks up, rain beginning to dot his jacket. For a heartbeat, he smiles at Hersmal, tired. Real, and then the first strike of lightning splits the sky behind them. Horses scream, rearing against their stalls. Amy rushes forward, rain spilling down her face, her voice firm and urgent as she tries to calm them. The stranger joins her, their hands brushing for a moment as they grab a rope together. Electricity in the air, real and imagined, wraps around them. The storm outside matches the one rising inside, both of them loud, uncontrollable, impossible to ignore. The narrator's voice cuts through the chaos. Low and trembling with emotion, when the past and the present collide, something always breaks. Maybe the sky. Maybe the heart. The screen flashes white with lightning, then black. Only the sound of rain remains steady, merciless, and full of things left unsaid. The rain doesn't fall. It crashes. Each drop feels like it carries a story, pounding against the earth, echoing through the valley. Heartland stands small beneath the storm, its fences trembling, its lights flickering against the dark. The music rises, strings and drums building into a heartbeat that fuses to settle. Amy runs through the rain. Her boots sink into the mud, her breath sharp and uneven. The wind tears through her hair as she calls out, trying to reach the barn where the horses cry out in fear. Her voice is swallowed by thunder. Inside, the stranger is already there, soaked to the bone, struggling to keep a wild stallion from breaking loose. The lightning flashes, and for one split second, we see them together, eyes locked in the storm's white fire. "You shouldn't be here," Amy shouts. "Neither should you," he answers, pulling the rope tighter. "But you're not one to walk away, are you?" The horse kicks, the rope snaps, chaos explodes. Amy stumbles, falling against the wall. The stranger catches her before she hits the ground. For a moment, time freezes, rain dripping from his hair onto her face. They're breathing heavy and close. The world outside blurs, as if nature itself is holding its breath. The narrator's voice breaks through. Deep and resonant, in the heart of every storm there's a choice: run from the past, or face it. Amy looks at him, eyes wide, vulnerable in a way she hasn't allowed herself to be in years. She opens her mouth to speak, but lightning crashes again, silencing her. The stallion bursts through the gate, hooves striking the mud, vanishing into the night. Without hesitation, she runs after it. Cut to her chasing the horse through the pouring rain, her silhouette swallowed by darkness. The stranger follows close behind. Each step is desperate, driven not by duty, but something deeper. They reach the ridge, the sky split with fire, and Amy freezes, her hands trembling. The horse stands at the edge, frightened but unharmed. She whispers softly, her voice breaking through the storm, "It's okay. I'm here." The animal turns, trusting her again. And in that moment, with the storm raging and her heart pounding, she feels something shift inside a piece of herself she thought was gone, finding its way back. The camera lingers on the stranger, standing behind her, watching not the horse, but her. There's something in his eyes, admiration, regret, maybe both. The thunder rolls again, and the music swells into something tender. Fragile, the narrator returns, his voice quieter now, full of ache and wonder. Love doesn't wait for calm skies. It comes when the world is falling apart. Amy turns to face him, her lips parting as if to speak, but the sound fades. The rain stops. The world holds still. A single drop falls from the brim of his hat, cut to black. Then just one line, spurred like a promise. Heartland returns, where every ending is only the beginning. The screen flickers with the glow of dawn breaking over the ranch. The storm is gone, but its echo lingers in the wet earth. In the trembling hands, and in the two hearts that have finally found each other in the quiet after chaos, the storm has passed. But the silence it leaves behind is heavier than thunder. Dawn creeps slowly over Heartland, painting gold across the drenched fields, glinting on puddles like fragments of forgotten stars. Smoke curls from the barn roof where lanterns still burn, steady and soft. The horses stand quiet now, their sides slick with rain, their breath rising in the cool morning air. Everything looks the same, yet nothing feels untouched. Amy steps into the light, her hair clings to her face, her clothes soaked, her boots heavy with mud. But her eyes are steady again. She looks toward the horizon where the clouds pull apart, revealing a thin line of blue. The narrator's voice drifts in, slow and gentle like the morning wind. Storms don't just tear things apart. They show us what was strong enough to stay. The camera follows Amy as she walks across the yard. Every footstep sinks deep, leaving a mark that glimmers in the wet ground. Behind her, the stranger stands near the fence, his hat in his hand, watching quietly. He doesn't move closer. He doesn't need to. The look they share carries everything: gratitude, guilt, hope. In the beginning of something neither expected to find again, a soft guitar returns. Its melody now calm, like the earth exhaling after holding its breath too long. Amy turns toward the stables, brushing her fingers against the fence as she passes. The camera tilts up to catch the morning sun catching her hand. Her skin warm against the light, the narrator continues, his tone now filled with quiet awe. She's survived heartbreak, she's weathered loss, and now she's learning what it means to begin again. A gentle montage plays. Jack sitting on the porch, watching the sky with a knowing smile. Lou and Lindy laughing together as they hang damp clothes to dry. Tim leading a horse out into the open field, and Amy standing beside the stranger, both looking toward the hills. It's not speaking, just feeling. The music swells softly beneath the scene, emotional but full of peace. The camera pulls back, lifting above the ranch, revealing the land spread wide under a sky finally cleared. Birds rise from the trees in slow motion, their wings cutting through the last traces of storm cloud. The screen fades to black, and then the Heartland logo appears, glowing softly in white against the darkness. Heartland, Season 19, Episode 1, A Beat of Silence. And then the final voiceover, firm and full of promise. This season, love will rise from the ruins, and every broken heart will find its rhythm again. The sound of hooves fades into the distance, steady, strong, unstoppable. The final shot fades in, Amy walking away from the camera toward the open pasture, her figure small against the vast. Endless sky text overlays gently across the screen. Coming soon, only on CBC and Netflix. The music fades to a single lingering note. The sound of wind brushing through the fields. And just before the screen goes completely dark, one last whisper of narration barely heard, but unforgettable, at Heartland. Every storm leaves behind a little more light. The story may have ended, but the world of Heartland breathes in every frame, every sound, every pause between words. This section shapes how the emotion becomes experience, how the audience doesn't just watch Amy's journey, but feels it. Voice and narration. The voiceover is the emotional spine of this faceless trailer. It should sound calm yet weighted, like someone who has seen storms come and go, but still believes in dawn. Think of a tone that carries wisdom and warmth, somewhere between nostalgia and quiet courage. The narrator's pauses are as important as their words. Let silence do some of the storytelling. Each line should land like a heartbeat, slow, deliberate, full of meaning. Music and sound design. Music is the unseen dialogue of this trailer. It begins soft, acoustic strings. The sound of hope waking up, then grows into a storm of layered piano and drums as tension builds. During the emotional climax, strings swell, but not to overwhelm. They should ache, not shout. In the final moments, everything fades back to a single guitar, echoing like memory. Sound effects are to be used as whispers of the world, wind slipping through fences, horse hooves pounding against wet earth, rain striking tin, and the soft click of a gate closing. Each sound carries emotion, telling a piece of the story without needing a face or a word. Visual style and editing. Rhythm. Visually, the trailer should feel cinematic yet intimate. It isn't about grandeur, it's about feeling close enough to touch the moment. Use natural light, dawn, gold, storm gray, and the clean blue of the sky after rain. The editing rhythm mirrors Amy's journey, slow at first, graceful, full of breath, then quick and sharp as the storm rises. Finally steady and calm again, like a heartbeat returning to peace. Every shot of Amy should capture emotion without showing too much. Hands brushing through horse manes, boots sinking in mud, eyes searching the horizon. Keep faces soft or partially hidden, letting expressions emerge in shadow and light. The stranger's identity should stay half-veiled, enough mystery to stir curiosity, enough warmth to invite trust. Color palette and atmosphere. The color palette evolves with the emotional arc. Act 1, hope and calm, warm sunrise tones, amber, gold, soft white. Act 2, memory and change, cooler shades, pale blues, muted browns. Act 3, storm and conflict, deep grays, black blue skies, quick flashes of light. Final renewal, the soft glow of new morning, balanced warmth and clarity. Every color breathes mood. Even the rain glistens like forgiveness. Tone and emotion. This is not just a trailer, it's a feeling. It's about letting silence speak louder than dialogue. It's about finding beauty in what's broken and strength in what's fragile. The faceless style draws the audience inward. They don't watch Amy, they become her. The story's emotional current flows through rhythm, not reaction. Every line of narration is a whisper to the viewer's heart. You've been here too. You felt this. Ending note. The final title card should linger for 2 seconds longer than expected. Let the audience sit in that stillness, their emotions catching up with the story. Fade to black with the faint echo of a horse's whinny and the wind. Brushing through open fields, the sound of peace rediscovered. Then, the last line, barely audible, soft, honest, an unforgettable Heartland, where love always finds its way home.